What's going on, Rippa fans and Rippa fam? Andy Andrew here, and we are back with another episode of our Artist Podcast here at the Rippaverse on our official YouTube channel, Ctrl+Z. Welcome back, gentlemen. Welcome back, chat and viewers. We appreciate you all being here. We've got a great show planned for you guys, as we do every single month. But thank you for being here. And I'm looking forward to have a fantastic discussion, looking at some fantastic art pieces, and inviting y'all to join us for the next art challenge. Stay tuned for more of that. That just means you're going to have to keep your butt in the seat and watch the whole show. Yeah. See, that's the trick. That was the ploy. My schemes are working. Well, we'll see if they work. They should work. I hope they work. I hope you stay. Thank you for joining us. Gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for being here. We got Rippaverse art director, Kanan White.
Welcome.
We've got our lead illustrator and one of our other art editors, Igor.
Yes,
hello. Hello.
And of course, the man who has helped design basically everyone and everything in this comic book universe, our Rippaverse concept artist, Marcos.
What's up?
You know what I have to start doing? So, the quick aside, Kanan, you're a wrestling guy. I'm going to have to start introing Marcos like Roberto Rodriguez used to introduce freaking Del Rio.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to have to do. God. That's what I'm going to have to start doing. And I'll even like make it super long. I'll do the whole shebang. That'll be fun. It'll be a good time. People will get annoyed. It's fine. I'll have a good time. At least I'll have fun.
I have no idea what any of that means.
Oh, but you will. You will.
Completely blanked out.
You know, brother. I tell you
what, start talking wrestling. I'm like, okay, this is.
Yeah, I'll be like, Marcos J. Oh, so just go like for a minute and a half. That'll be fun. But yeah, guys, thank you once again for joining me here. It's always a fantastic pleasure to have you here and look at some great art, discuss kind of your creative process, and give the audience insight into that, which I think is even more valuable, especially since I know we have a lot of aspiring artists and writers here in the Rippaverse fandom, and I know that they get a lot out of hearing you guys. So thank you for being entertaining and insightful, whereas I'm neither. So, you know, this is y'all's show. I'm just here to sometimes talk. Y'all are here to actually provide knowledge, because I don't have any of that beyond knowing what's going on behind the scenes. NDA. That's right. All I've got. That's my one claim to fame. I got nothing else beyond that. But yes, this is our 6th episode. So this is 6th month. Wow. We've been doing this now. We've been doing this for almost for about half a year now. So we'll have to cook up something fun for the actual 1 year anniversary of the podcast. I think I'm going to start thinking of ideas. We can start bouncing around ideas for that. Chat, let us know if you have any ideas for that as well. They may or may not be implemented, if they're good. So we got another great episode planned for y'all. Gentlemen are going to be here to join me with some awesome fun pieces for this month. This episode's prompt. You guys are going to enjoy those as well, because the guys did a great job, as they always do. We had a different we've had a lot of holiday themed ones, right? This time around was more simplistic, more kind of grounded, just kind of day job. What are each of these characters day to day look like? What's something you could just walk in on them the middle of the afternoon during the workday on a Monday through Friday? What would they be doing, right? And that could be a ton of different things for a lot of different characters, but the guys had some fun playing around with that, and I'm looking forward to you guys getting to see the process and listen to the insights that they have for those. And yeah, after that, we're going to talk a little bit about character creation.
Ooh.
Don't mind the evil plotting fingers whatsoever. That is for me to know and y'all to, well, eventually find out. So without further ado, let us get a rolling on these time lapses. Now, we are going to start. I want to throw a curveball. I don't think we've ever started with Igor. So Igor, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, yeah.
I think we usually start with Kanan or Marcos. And so I feel like starting with Igor's, which is awesome. And we'll make Caro very happy, I'm sure, as it has to deal with her boyfriend, aka Hector
Of course.
Caballero. So, she'll be super, super enthused about that. Let's see. No, not Chrome. Well, let me do Chrome tab because I'm not using Chrome for this. Here we go. I'm a professional streamer and YouTuber, guys. I promise. I'm a liar. All right, here we go. This is Igor's piece. This is fantastic. I love a lot of things about this piece, and I'm also digging the black and whites.
Cool.
I love Igor's colors, but I think one not having y'all to have to worry about coloring the pieces is a big deal, and helpful for y'all. And then on top of that, people get to see just kind of the clean line work for you guys, because each of you guys inks your own stuff, so it's not just the pencils. People actually get to see those darker blacks and everything. But without further ado, let's get this one rolling in terms of the time lapse. And Igor, you can walk us through this one.
That's so cool.
Yeah, this is freaking
All right.
great. Let's speed it
Yeah,
up
so
just a teeny bit.
I started like with a different idea. The idea was still that he's gonna clean his blades, guns, and stuff like that. And then I remembered we actually have to like kind of make him relatable, because in the first comic, for those who have read, like he lies about having a different job at a different company, and then that's his excuse to go into Flores Park and everything that ensues afterward. And then he feels guilty about that, which is one of the things that I love about his narration throughout the book. Is like, oh, lies again, like he's lying to his family about what he's doing and everything else. And then I said I stuck with like the reflection of him looking at himself while cleaning the blade that's like dirty with blood. And at first I was gonna say, oh, this is his job actually, like he's not doing anything else. But then I thought, like, oh, by the end of the book, his sister actually, they actually all, I don't remember who exactly, like suggests, but they all come like with the idea of like, oh, there is this company that you can work with, like the package and stuff. And that's the end of the story, right? So I was like, cool, that there is like a lie at the beginning, and then he ends up with another job. Like that's what kind of like the beginning and end points of the story. And it relates to our theme of like talking about jobs, day jobs, and everything else. So I erased everything I was already inking. I erased the table with all the guns and stuff like that, the cleaning parts, and decided to make him like carrying a box to symbolize that he's working at like a packaging company. And yeah, so after that is just about details, and I wanted to put like the beginning of when you're looking at like Itzabu is the name of the company that he lies that he's working at.
That's
And
awesome.
then he crosses it and starts taking notes like a unit packet, that's the real suggestion, real job, do it for them. And then no more lies I add there. So it's like he's planning like his life. And then in the middle, big is like what he actually does, like as a horseman, as the horseman, look at himself. And then in the end, like carrying the package. So I tried to tell like a little bit of story
That's
with
awesome.
it, which, and it was nice. Like we were talking about the black and white. I would have painted a lot of this red if I was coloring it because of the blood, but it's so cool to be able to just render blood with like a proper, like I even used the brush that has like some texture to it because I wanted the blood to feel like manga
I got
when
you.
you're reading like Berserk or something like that. They always take like very good care about
Beauty.
drawing like proper blood and like the different shades and everything, and you really feel like there is blood like in the cloth and everything. And I was like, I wanted at least the blade, I want to have like some stuff, because in the cloth it would maybe look too busy because of the uniform and reflections and everything. But yeah, it was super fun to do this. This was my first time doing something entirely on Procreate.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because I usually do the pencil sketches on Procreate or paper
Okay.
and then like ink. on Clip Studio, so it was nice. Like there was less attachment to the final product because I was doing it. There were some circumstances in my life that prevented me from working on my computer. I had to help family members, and then I had to carry the iPad around and like kind of paint. So there was like this different vibe with this piece where I had this idea that I was using a tool for like kind of the first time. So the result, this is something that people that work in art have to deal with. Like the result's not gonna be what you expect, and
Yeah.
that's fine. That should also be said for people that are studying. When you're studying something, you shouldn't be thinking about the result. You should be focusing on the piece that you're making, like as you go and as you're studying. Like if you're studying anatomy, like focus on the anatomy. Don't focus on the result that you're gonna get, because you need practice. So yeah, that's something that I try to do with this piece. Ended up looking okay, I guess.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
That reflection
Gentlemen.
reminds me of the Wolverine cover with the
Oh
Hulk.
yeah, with the claws.
those
Now that you
claws,
mention
yeah.
it. Yeah,
classic.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
that's a classic.
what for one, the texture of the brush you picked, man, is
I really
even
like this
even
brush.
exactly. I was like, even being digital, it has a traditional feel to it, and so I
Yeah.
mean, it feels like you used some sort of almost like a I'll say like a pencil type tool,
Yeah,
like a
I
like a
like that.
was a 6/8 or something like that. Real dark, the real
Mm.
dark ones. But yeah, I love the texture. I love the fact that he has his job written down as just a task.
Yeah.
So they're like, check that off, and I'll get back to what I really what I really want to do. But the job is just like, okay, take out the trash, go to work,
Yeah.
check, do the job thing,
Yeah.
check, and it was like, let's do what I really do. Yeah, and that's
Yeah, that's the main
police the
focus
street.
of the thing.
Exactly. But yeah, love the reflection, love the and I also like how even in the reflection, you didn't add as much detail because a lot of times in the reflection you don't see all that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very surface because sometimes it's even blurry. Depending on the
Yeah.
sheen of
Yeah.
the knife. So, but then him smiling at his job, when he realized he's masking and putting on a whole front, you're like, this is the best job ever.
Yeah, I'm so happy to work here.
Right.
every day.
Right. So, but yeah, good job, man.
I actually think it looks like a very good idea for a cover.
It does.
Like it could have been a really good cover.
Yeah, we would have to tweak a lot of things to make it work because I used basically everything. We wouldn't like our designer would curse the hell out of me for having like the no space
Where
for
am I
the
supposed to
title.
put the title?
There's so much info I have to put
Nobody
here.
does that.
He had me rolling like, I want to reiterate, bleeds. And
Yes.
Bleeds, my gosh.
but you mentioning it like I always liked when the cover tells a story.
Yeah.
That's what I mean though. Like the design, the idea, like you're narrating the entire story in a subtle way with just a couple of images.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I like.
And that's Hector, by the way. He's about to deliver Bruce's package from what it looks like.
That's way too small to be a Bruce order. I don't know. Maybe we broke up his order into 3.
Yeah.
More packages.
You wouldn't be able to hold that box.
Right. Excellent. Well, great work, Igor.
Thank you.
Big fan of that one. All right, let us do this. Let's pull up Marcos.
Like yours too, man. That was
yeah.
You're a soft touch, man. With the grays is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what we forgot to do, and by we I mean me. Put them all on like one image that could be displayed.
Oh, true.
I'm actually
I can do that
for the voting later.
Yeah.
Making it easier to decide. Yeah.
All right. This
That's
is
so
this is
good.
great. I love the lighting in this one.
I know,
Actually,
man.
Yeah.
I really love the lighting in this one.
Thanks.
This is Marcos. All right, Marcos. This is only a minute long.
Yeah. It wasn't
I'm gonna have
really.
to put it at freaking 80% speed, which is as slow as it'll make me go.
Yeah, the entire recording was like 7 minutes. I didn't want to like throw that into the whole
I would
thing.
rather on that and then just put it at like 1.5
exactly.
speed.
Why not? I want to.
Yeah, you just scrub through it.
Yeah.
Well,
All
I mean,
right.
it's
Well,
all
here we
still
go.
there.
Here we go. Here we go. All
There's
right.
also
Talk
one
to us,
idea.
Marcos.
Stages.
It was just also one idea, so it took less time. You know how usually
Mhm.
you see me do multiple sketches. This one from the start, it was just about Yaira and Altona. I feel like nobody really knows much yet about what they do behind the scenes. They work at Projexis
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. So I thought about that, and then I wanted to include a piece of them just because first of all, we don't even know if they actually work together that often. They're just in the same building. They
That's
got
true.
hired.
They interact a lot, right? Like,
Yeah, and from the few little interactions they had in Yara, number one, I figured it'd be great to have them sort of like just having some fun. You can't really tell yet in the drawing because it's still starting to ink, but the laptop is not really supposed to be like the main computer at work. It's more like a top secret thing that she's pulling out. And I wanted to make it feel like Yaira's just telling her like these mysterious like secret adventures she's been at before arriving at Earth and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, just doing like Yaira stuff. And oh yeah, that was pretty fast. I agree now.
yeah.
Ah, imagine that. What do I know? All right, let's
And
go
you-
through
you-
it again then.
You even slowed it down.
I did, but you can only do so much with the 59-second video, bro.
So you can pause, maybe pause it at different stages.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could pause it and yeah.
There we
I
go.
actually started the sketch with having the Projexis logo on their shirt or the jackets, but I ended up removing it because I felt like it was a little bit flat for at least at the end for the way that I was shading it. And if you could actually move a little bit forward for when I started inking, that's probably like 10 seconds in. I'm kidding, but I actually
You're
decided
not that
to
far off, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I decided to use a different approach to the way that I do my cell shading. It's hard to tell here, but if you pause it when it's black, because you see how I section the little things first, I do black right
Yeah.
there. I decided to do this method where instead of just using my airbrush or just the brush that I use for making the direct cell shading separations, I instead started using multiple layers to like, for instance, I made a new layer to black out what I wanted to section, and then another layer underneath, and used a gradient tool, the brush that Clip Studio uses.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the direction you use it in the direction you want it to color, and it basically makes it look very like a shadow.
I see.
Really good.
And
Man.
I did that for the
Yeah,
entire
that's why it
piece.
looks kind of like gradiented and faded here.
That hand is crazy.
That's like,
Yeah.
So good.
that's a really good hand. Yeah.
The light on the fingers, right? Like
I know.
the way it's sketching.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I preemptively added the Altona like shadow on her skirt there because she's
Smart.
sitting right next to her.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like the shading you did on Altona's hair here
Her hair,
too.
yep.
That's not easy to do.
Yeah,
With
that's
that
all
super
black.
curly. Yeah.
Yep.
I think
It's
Marcos
one of the fun
unlocked
parts.
the code for his
Yeah,
style.
it
dude.
might be.
Yeah.
That's
I
one of
think
the
so.
fun parts about inking, Altona, Bloodruth, the hair. You're doing it like that with the whole, because basically all you do is do the shape and then you ink it and then erase for the highlights.
Mhm.
Kind of learned that from Kanan though, because that's how he also does their hairs, and it's pretty fun.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I had a lot of
This
fun
is good.
with
This
the
is very
inking.
cool.
I usually just do the airbrushing, and it takes surprisingly
Out
it
of
takes longer.
Yeah, out of all of us, you could have colored that like the fastest.
Mm.
Like of all of our pieces need a lot of work. Like mine and Kanan, at least. Yours, like the values are set.
Yeah.
So
You can just
coloring
do
that would be a piece
I think
of
it's
cake.
because the situation that the
Yeah.
characters are in doesn't require as much like crazy fine detail.
Nope.
So the elements that are there are much easier to color without
Yeah.
having to spend 8 years doing it anyway.
And then you add like the light that adds like, a
Yeah,
lot of
true.
drama to it, like the focus and everything. Like I love that Altona is that kind of in the shadows.
It's almost like you can feel the like the soft light, the sun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like or whatever they're in,
Oh,
the
good.
facility they're in. It almost looks like they're in one of those private rooms too that where you want to just kind of
Top
block
secret.
out. Well, you block out everything. You ever been like in
Yeah.
libraries or stuff like that, and it's like your own personal kind of like quiet room.
Mhm.
Just kind of like talk, like you said, top secret information. So yeah,
There's
that's
a
really
little
good part.
detail. There's a little detail on the bottom left on the cup. It's supposed to.
Yeah.
The cup has a message that says "Mom of the Year" because of
Yeah.
our Altona.
Nice.
I did that thinking about the previous piece that Kanan did with the.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Was it the previous one?
Yeah, with
Yeah,
the
was
her,
it?
Yeah.
doing the hair, yeah.
The mother, doing the hair, yeah.
Because I really love that piece. That piece is heartwarming.
Yeah, it's cool. You like
Yeah.
connecting you. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Telling a
Very good.
story here. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
That's awesome.
But yeah. I also like the making the glass effect. It's
Yeah.
really fun.
Mhm.
All just choose this gradient and the little. It's actually not that hard because I've seen people struggle sometimes with making like glass textures. All you got to do is make some sort of contrast, and you could add a very dramatic highlight, and it
Mhm.
really shapes it out.
Yeah, but it's only easy after like the fundamental
you-
behind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
It's
Like
not
you're
actually easy. Like you have to study to get to that point where you know how to solve that like in an instant.
let me
Very good.
rephrase. It's easy after you learn it.
No, we're not
Because-
all
because
just as
that kind of
immediately as talented as
yeah.
you, Marcos.
The way he said
Well,
it
nah.
understands what the work that he's doing. Like he's paying attention to a lot of things
Yeah.
that like you just don't see. Like and then in the end, like it all comes together too.
even like I know we were talking about the toning and the first of all, the cash out of Altona on Yaira is pretty awesome.
Hmm.
And then the toning from over her shoulder leading to her like lower breast, it's like you can see the gradual light change. You got so many things going on in here, Marco. It's like it's
Yeah.
crazy, bro. It's almost like the guy that's like just instinctually good, realizes like they're
Yeah.
doing like
Well, thanks.
super masterful moves and stuff. And even too, like you can tell that their clothing, even as grayscale, that it's different colors,
Mhm.
Mhm.
which is
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
The
awesome.
base value is one, and then
Yep.
it's hit by shadow and like
Yep.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, which
great
is funny.
stuff.
It's funny because I did that for the previous piece where I did like a grayscale first and then the shading. This time I didn't do that. I just went straight to shading and it ended up looking like I did a grayscale.
Very
What did
good.
you say that?
Worked.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it worked pretty darn well. Amigo.
Thanks.
Great piece, great work.
Phenomenal, man.
All right, Kanan.
The one who took the belt finally from Igor.
Yes.
Somebody finally took Igor down, right?
Had to hit him with a sentimental value. No. To win, I had to
That's
go.
what it
to-
was. That's what it was. People thought it was just too darn adorable. All right. How long did you? This is 5. Okay, I don't have to
Yeah,
play
so
with
you
this
got
one.
time, yeah.
Yeah, I can bump it up teeny bit. 1.2 should be fine. All right. Let's hit it.
It's cool. So, we're talking about, day job. And so it kind of immediately popped in my head was, Forest Park PD. And so this is, can I talk about the other lady, the other person in here? Or is that like have they seen her yet?
She's in Alpha Core 1.
Callie?
Okay. Yeah.
Callie.
She is. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
she's
so,
she's an Alpha Core 1. Yeah.
So
Type
this is
track.
Mike Davies and then Callie. And so they're kind of on the whole thing is, we're talking about day jobs. So they're actually on the police raid. And when I initially did the sketch, had the door open, but I was like, it'd be kind of, because it was going to be like a hotel hallway. And so I actually instead decided to make it like one of those outside motels.
Mhm.
You see, you kind of run down, seating in a little area, and so they're just kind of, about to, raid it, and so,
Well, kind of like in early Alpha Core 1 where they
yeah,
go grab Galvin.
yep, and so, I wanted her to. At first, I was just gonna have her hold her gun, but I also decided to switch it up and have her kind of like getting information and like intel while holding, kind of backing him up. So, yeah, so that they're just kind of posting up, man, and about to knock on the door. I was like also going to add more cops, but I got tired of drawing people, so I was like, we'll just stick with the two.
I was gonna do that, but then I decided,
yeah, I mean, he was gonna have like SWAT gear and everything, man. I was just like, yeah, we'll just use the two. So I mean, they're enough. That's enough backup, and so, but Mike Davies kind of gives me that Commissioner Gordon vibe. So, he's kind of like a hardened kind of grizzled guy, detective, and of course she's like his equal. She's his counterpart. So, what better way to show kind of the life and times of a cop, detective, PD going in and doing what they do, man. So yep, that's basically it.
Yeah, I really like this because these are characters that I can actually speed this up a smidge here. Mick Davies and Callie are characters that we've seen a few times, but I think people don't talk about them nearly as much as they probably should. Now that might change with other books as they release going forward, but they are essential. They're not characters that just popped up a couple of times and that's the last people are going to see of them. No, people are going to see more of Mick and more of Callie. Briggs, she's a cool character. She was getting into it with Ingrid a bit there in Alpha Core 1, like not a big fan, right? But they still both had a job to do and they still both did their jobs. But yeah, like this is really great.
I think that's the beauty of doing characters other than just your primary heroes, because Forest Park is such a vast array of characters. We always think about Gooding. He operates sort of on the outskirts of Forest Park, in the ground level with a lot of things that are going on, that because you have such a larger than life heroes like Alpha Core and ISOM and other individuals, he is there to to kind of like the little things, the cat out of the tree, or my washing machine broke down, or sewage backup and stuff like that. And so but at the same time, you got Callie and Davies, man, like they are there to basically, crime fighting doesn't stop and doesn't happen only at the top tier with metas.
It's not always superhero.
Yeah, it's not always the excepts. Like you still got everyday drug dealers, you got gangbangers, you got cartel,
which aren't Alpha Core's jurisdiction, right?
Exactly.
Like they are there strictly to handle the except related threats. It's up to Mick and Callie and Mike and the rest of the Forest Park PD to handle those everyday things.
Exactly. I love that there's a balance in the Rippaverse of like you said, people who boots to the ground, as well as eyes in the sky, kind of thing. And so even like Saoirse, she's a boots to the ground type character along with Salvage. I know he has powers, but it's still in addition to solving the crimes and the things that go on, because Alpha Core and ISOM, they can't be everywhere, so you got people that still need help and still need to do what they need to do. And so I think they're kind of like a Commissioner Gordon and Montoya, but better, because they are a little bit more aggressive, and they are. I mean, they can throw hands. They can do, I'm sure, people will begin to see things as they show up in other situations. That they can give as good as they can get, and they can hold their own with any except, even in their it always reminds me of there's an anime called Fire Force, and
Oh yeah.
the captain has no powers. He has no ability,
Yeah.
but he is like the captain for a reason. He doesn't have the the dullest fire and flames like everybody else, but he's a beast. And he can throw hands. He does what he needs to do, and so they're necessary. Those individuals, man, are necessary. Just the everyday heroes within Florence Park. Like you said, Andrew, are just as important as the larger than life. So that's what I want to kind of show as far as their day job. People may die, maybe they get shot, they get injured, that's stuff like that, everyday stuff. So
Yeah. I also like that, like Andrew was mentioning, like, oh, they don't talk a lot. We don't see the people talking a lot about them. That's why I chose like Sam from
Yep.
the one before, because it's kind of the catalyst for between ISON 2 and ISON 3.
Yep.
But it's also like one thing that we knew from the start that Eric enjoys. He enjoys world building.
Yes.
So this character is being a recurrent presence. You don't pay a lot of attention to it at first, but maybe like those end up becoming some of people's favorite characters here and there.
Yep.
Like when you read like you're mentioning Gordon, Batman, or other characters in animes, and maybe the characters that you don't pay a lot of attention to sometimes, or that just show up here and there, end up taking the spotlight because they're so unique. Like Briggs is so unique. Like it's very nice to see. So I'm sure people will still see them in a lot of stories and like relate to the way they're to some of the ways that they do things.
Exactly.
Maybe not others like that. That's the beauty of like building a world that has a lot of different characters in it. It's like playing in a sandbox, like Eric mentions.
Yep.
A lot.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about that last time when we had our world building discussion, where like these characters all exist in the same spot. They're not going to always cross paths, but there's always that chance, right? So you never know when Callie and Mick are going to pop up next. There are certain stories where they're far more likely to pop up, but you never know where they could pop up. Obviously, if it's dealing with a story in Florence Park, there's a much higher chance, since that's where they operate off of. They're part of the Florence Park PD, so there's a good chance even that they could pop up in that. Obviously, Mick Davies was introduced in ISOM 1. Callie was introduced in Alpha Core number 1. So these are characters that within that city, there's a good likelihood that you could see him again. So look forward to, for those of you who are fans of Detective Callie Briggs and Mick Davies, look forward to the next entries in the stories in which they might show up.
Yep.
Marcos, do you have any commentary on Kanan's piece here?
I was gonna say, it's funny you mentioned that he appears in ISOM 1. Isn't he like in the first couple pages?
Yeah, he's like on page 2.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, literally the first character that's like
With a name. Yeah.
introduced. Yeah, and he's talking about a redhead. But yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, there he is. I was gonna say, if I don't remember if Callie was shown in Alpha Core smoking a lot, because I know that it was part of the design for her. I was gonna say, Kanan, it might have been a little bit funny as well if you added her instead of with the phone, just smoking.
I thought about giving her a cigarette. I was like, but,
in the middle of a fight like this.
I could actually maybe had her stomping it out too. Just kind of like,
right?
She smokes like, I know she's like a chain smoker.
She's a chain smoker. Yeah, it's literally like written out in the description. Yeah, I just thought about that. It would have been kind of funny.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Really, yeah, I also really like that running effect. It really gives the piece a lot of motion, like the shadow.
Oh, thanks, man.
Shadow of the it gives the piece a lot of motion.
Thank you.
You can tell he's ready
like
to run in. Yeah.
Yep. I always like when doing pieces like this, I don't say static pieces, but still images, man. Like it's always good to, even though you're drawing a solitary visual, it should still in your mind be moving. And if you can translate that to your actual piece, like you can feel like you're like, oh man, if I stepped into this image, I could actually see and hear the sounds and textures and smells and all that stuff that goes into this. Like that's always like my goal is, when I'm illustrating something, man, is to really put the viewer in there. So, you're right with the movement of the shadow. Really wanted to kind of just show them, they're on the job, man. They're moving toward the door. So
Yeah, you could have even added like a frame, same thing, like lines to show the motion as well. It would have made it even pop out more as well. Regarding motion, I mean.
It's always nice to have dynamicism in any piece, whether it's it can be of characters standing still.
Yeah,
but there's a difference between having characters standing still and them being static in the image.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. It also helps tell a story, because if you pay attention, not only did Kanan do a great job by adding like some backgrounds, which people are always afraid of, and I keep criticizing in art all the time, and people are slack off on their background. So he added enough that you can see where you are. You can see that you're high up.
Yep.
Like you can see a lot of things like happening. But also, like if you read from left to right, which is how we read, like they are all looking, like you guide with the eye.
That's good.
Guiding the reader's eye. Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Guiding it to if this was, say, like a panel, one or whatever, it's guiding you to the next panel.
Like the next panel, the next panel is a splash door kick in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then the number, everything. You know your bearings. You're ready for action. Like everything is set for the next piece.
Great visual storytelling.
I was going to ask, is the number intentional by any chance? Like an Easter egg or something? 283?
No, it's just a number.
Just random?
Yeah.
Sometimes those things are like Easter eggs. Just wanted to know.
Extra super secret that no one will know until Kanan decides what it's going to be. Yeah. It's so secret. It's even a secret from myself.
Although
the issue
you never know.
Really good job.
Great work. Let me pull up where is the drive thingy here? So, ladies and gentlemen, that was each of the fantastic, illustrious illustrators pieces here. We're going to throw all of them up in a nice splash kind of wallpaper here for y'all to see. That way you can more easily compare them. Let's see. Can I blow it up just a little bit? There we go. That'll work. Yeah, that's good enough. Why the hell not? And shout out to Igor, because I'm dumb and forgot to have this done ahead of time, and he literally whipped it up as he was doing commentary. We got a multitasking maestro here. He's doing his commentary, and he's not like half-assing it either. But he's doing great commentary on everybody else's pieces, and at the same time, he's throwing together this wallpaper because why not? Talent.
He's got 4 hands with hair.
Right.
Prehensile hair was all right. So yeah, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, we will have a poll going up right now in there for y'all to vote on your favorite piece. Igor was a 4-time consecutive champion until last month when Kanan finally dethroned him. Who will take the belt this month? You get to decide, not me, not the gentleman. So pick your favorite piece and let us know in the chat why you voted how you did. I'll leave that up for a few more seconds. We will move into discussing a piece of fan art here fairly briefly, but we had some fantastic fan art pieces that we were tagged in on social media that we just couldn't not talk about one of them. So look forward to that in a second. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your awesome work. Guys, again, in the chat, poll. Make sure you vote. Get it done. Now let's pull up this piece. This is oh man, this is a great piece. Everybody's so talented.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Why everybody's so talented? I want to be like Kanan when I grow up. Like I want to draw like Kanan.
Igor.
Shoot, like I'll.
Yeah, no. We can switch. I don't mind.
That's good.
All right, so this
Ooh.
piece right here. Is there a way to like blow this up? I guess there really isn't.
We can go.
But yeah. I just won't let me. Can I make it full?
Yeah,
Oh, open image in new tab. No, it's just whatever. It's kind of bigger. Good enough. Yeah. So this piece was this by Rod?
Rod, yeah.
Yes,
Rod
This was by Rod.
I don't know
So
if
Rod
I'm saying
Liver
that.
is he is an actual artist, right? And man, this looks great.
It's really good.
I mean, I love me some Sydney, and this piece did not change that position at all.
Yeah. Very cool.
What do you guys think? Give us your thoughts, your breakdown on this piece.
First of all, the fur on the wolves is really,
Yes.
really awesome. Like you
Mhm.
can feel the ferocity just in their faces, and then with the saliva coming out shows that the dogs they're really aggressive, and that's something also, if you have ever seen a dog that was upset or angry, or even wolves, the scruff of their neck flares up, because they're also aggressive. So having all those elements in there, and then the little touches that he added with the mist, very, very subtle. The debris, like it flows well. I mean, and then of course, Sydney's pose, is dynamic. I love how he did the leather. It actually looks like leather. Her pants and jacket. So, yes, Sydney is definitely unbiased because, as I said,
I had not heard this.
you have
Yeah.
Yaira, I have Sydney. I know.
This could work for like a statue similar to like the Isom one.
Yeah,
For
With the
sure.
push.
Yeah.
I think
Plush
about that.
and everything.
That actually would be a nice. What's
The
I
my
really
effects
love
and everything.
yeah, the touch that he did by adding all the night elements with the bats and
Yeah.
the moon. And
Like an
it's
old school poster, right?
Mhm.
yeah, this whole horror element to it. It looked like a poster, exactly.
Yeah.
You can
So
tell the
cool.
Soskas love it just by by thinking about it.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I like about this piece as well, because it's exactly the vibe that they were going for. So I'm sure when people got their books, they realized that like Jen and Sylvia had done what they liked doing
Yep.
by
Yep.
telling that story. And then like this piece is the same, like it's exactly their vibe.
Yep.
Like the fog in front of them, like everything is like a Hammer old movie or something like that. With
Yeah, it does have that
like,
feel.
yeah, like I love it. It's
Like a
like the set
Dracula vibe.
behind. Yeah, like the set behind could be like a set piece that we would get like in the past, where people would
Mhm.
go and design everything, like make styrofoam stuff and everything. Like could be a poster for a movie, like with a proper color. Like it's so good. Like I really
And the
like it.
contrast of all the
Yeah.
white and black is so good.
Yeah, everything is very controlled. Like there's a ton of detail. Can get lost so fast. Like controlling everything. It's really important. Even added like grays behind her, which help like silhouette everything. And the effects, like not overdoing it. It's
Yep.
just the flow of movement. That's so smart. Well, the saliva is the same for the wolves. Like just adds movement, right?
Yep.
Like it's plain white, not a lot of detail, adds a ton of movement to it. It's really smart. really smart piece overall. Like very good use of like everything, like the space.
Yep.
It's really good.
Andrew, you forgot to say puppy. Bye-bye.
Buddy!
Rippaverse
Plurals.
classic.
Yeah, that is a classic. That is a classic. That is true. Shame on me. Yeah, great. Oh man, this is such a cool piece. Sydney is such a phenomenal character. The Saskas did a great job with Bloodruth #1. As somebody who does a lot of stuff within the community for our fan base and all of that, I have a lot of conversations, whether it's in Discord, whether it's hopping in on people's streams, or Twitter Spaces, X Space, whatever the hell. A key talking point, a key sticking point for the fandom seems to be like this was them clearly in their element. Like they knew what they were doing with this book.
Yes.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's only the beginning. Oh my
It is
God.
only the beginning. So, yeah. Great job, Rod. Marcos, did you have any other commentary on it?
No, not really. I was gonna say that Eric hired them for a reason for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's definitely showing in a good way. Like that's man, like I love how they've introduced the supernatural element.
Mhm.
It's such a profound and solid way that now, I mean, you like Zalen's the cosmic, now we got Isom was always ground level, street level. And now we got the supernatural elements of things, and that's the beauty of the Rippaverse, man. Like all these different aspects being introduced, and now you can like play in those areas. It's like, okay. So you can build on this and build on that, and this, that, and the other. So
It's somebody laying the first brick, and then you can come in and start adding more bricks, right? And you're just building
what
out
if
a bigger
and
castle.
that interacted?
Yep.
That's like so
Yeah.
good.
Exactly.
Started.
Oh yeah. Well, that's one of the beautiful things. Like Kanan was just saying, and fantastic piece, Rod. Like Kanan was just saying, somebody could create a character or write a story that inspires another writer to build on top of that. And maybe it's creating an entirely new character, but they were inspired by that other person's work. Right. And so now we can just continue to build within each of these genres and subgenres that we've got going on right now.
Yep.
Who knows what else we'll see in the cosmic? We've already got more space stuff as well coming down the pipeline with Dirty Deeds from Caro.
Yeah.
Right. Shout out to everybody who pre-ordered a copy of Rippaverse 3. Those will be shipping out to you fairly soon.
That.
Yes, you will love Dirty Deeds. Be sure to, when we send out surveys for feedback, be sure to let us know how you liked that story specifically, because Caro is more than willing and more than ready to give you more. All right.
Yes.
So you got to let us know, right? It all comes down to y'all. Did you enjoy it? Cool. Do you want more? Perfect. Let's give you more. All right. That's how we like to operate around here. And it will continue to be that way when it comes to the Rippazines and all of our books in general. Right. So always do not be afraid to give us your honest, good faith feedback of, what you're enjoying about a given story, what you didn't, what you'd like to continue to see and what you would like to see less of, things like that. Just let us know, because we want to, obviously writers want to write what they want to write, but we also want to make sure that we're giving you something you genuinely enjoy. Right. And
there's no shortage of ideas as well.
Yeah, there's no shortage of ideas back here. Like, you all just gotta let us know. All right. No, we do have eyes everywhere. We pay attention. We're looking. We're watching. So we see the conversations you guys have on social media, in your YouTube videos, Twitter Spaces, in Discord and all of that, Facebook groups. Like we do see, we do pay attention. We may not always be interacting directly, but we are taking notes. So you will probably see some point down the line in the not too distant future that there will be very visible, actionable responses to those things that you guys have been requesting. You'll see more of that, and you'll get more of that. And that's something that is an actual joy to know that we're a part of, that we're, instead of being part of an industry that doesn't seem to want to give fans what they want, we're trying to do the opposite and give fans what they want. Incredible, right?
Who would have thought?
And for whatever reason, you guys keep throwing money at us when we do it. Who'd have thought? I guess it just works that way. That sounds to me like good business. Can I get business up in the chat? Eric, I stole your line. Sorry, not sorry. At least you weren't here. Okay, you come in here and host one of these, and then you can say business in the chat. All right, watch him pop up in the chat.
Hey, right.
Watch him pop up in the chat. He's like, "Is that right?" I'm like, oh shoot!
I'm just playing.
Excellent. Well, actually, this is a perfect segue because from the character creation standpoint, that's something that we're starting to get to see a lot more of in the Rippaverse as we build it out. So last episode, we had this great discussion, I felt, on overall world building and y'all's thoughts and feelings on what it was like to see and hope for when it comes to seeing new locations and, what kind of genres can we tap into now. On the topic of characters, and we have several qualified people here to talk about this, not the least of which being one who designed the vast majority of the characters in our universe. When you're approaching the creation of a character, and this I'll pass this question on to everybody, or I'll toss it up to everybody. What is it that you're thinking of first? So there are a lot of different ways to approach character creation. Some people will have maybe they get an immediate inspiration from something else that they see, right? And so like, I kind of want to do something like that, but my own take, like something different. Or maybe they have this idea for, maybe they think of the powers first, right? Some people are like, oh no, don't lead with the powers. Well, you can, as long as the powers aren't all that there is to the character.
Yeah.
Right.
You want the character to be a person. You want them to have character. But what is it that you do when you are approaching the creation of a character, conceptualizing a character? Like, are you thinking of the powers? Are you thinking of their look? Are you thinking of their gear? Are you looking for the different types of color combinations you want to utilize with them? What is it about that that you go for? And then what about character creation do you enjoy the most? And are you hoping to get an opportunity to toss up your own original creations at some point into our budding universe?
Yes, and yes.
Yes, and yes.
Next questions, please.
Right. 10 out of 10, no notes.
Yes to all.
Well, I mean,
all of the above. Answer D.
I would actually want to hear. I'll say mine, but I want to hear if Marcos said mine.
Yeah.
Since he is he's created basically the entire universe.
That
so
question
much.
is literally for me. Like,
I would. No, I'm not interested. I'm interested. Like, once you get the information, from said creators, what is your first approach? I guess I just asked the same question. But I'm just curious to hear what you had to say.
oh, you're asking? Okay. Well, I guess we're starting with me then.
Yes.
It's it's probably a little complicated because there's it depends, honestly. Like, if there's a script, if there's a story, because basically I'm mostly the visual type when it comes to designing here, because the writers throw the scripts at me, the characters, the ideas. For instance, Eric, he literally, when he pitches a character, he's like, okay, we have this new character. He gives me his name, details of how he should look. So that's literally the first thing that I think about. Just, okay, how tall are they? What exactly are they wearing? What type of thing is there? What makes them pop as a unique character? Because, I mean, there's a lot of characters that have like wearing a suit, something very basic. We have a lot of those, but most of the time I'm thinking, well, what is one thing that I could add to it that could probably make it unique, like pop? That's what happened with Lillian, for instance, with her hair having the purple and the purple energy, the form as well. It didn't have none of that when Eric tossed me the character. It's just an Asian lady with a black dress. That's all it was. Had to I'm thinking about what makes them, shine or pop out, And then when it comes to creating my own, though, if I'm gonna write a story from scratch, and I need to basically think of a character, I think of the story first and then the character. So the first thing that I think about is the role they play. Is this what type of role this character is going to play? Obviously, if it's a main character, villain, or secondary, what will be the main thing they do? And then based off of that, I go with how they should look, the colors, the vibe. That really helps out portray the type of character, like archetype, I guess. And I learned this a lot through a lot of like studies on story and content creation with characters, a bunch of documentaries I watch on YouTube and stuff, and other amazing writers like Mike Byron as well, and Carol that also helps me out with this type of stuff, and Andrew as well. He helps me understand this as well sometimes. But yeah, that's like That's why I mean it depends. If it's like they send me the script, the characters, the details are already laid out. All I have to do is think about how to make them look unique. But if it's on my own, I usually think first on what the role is and how I could shape them into that role, if that makes sense.
Yes.
It's good.
And yeah. What are you oh, the chickens? I just realized y'all talking in the chat. Dude, every single
No,
time
but-
we do these, there's chickens in the background because the neighbor has a farm.
That's okay.
I-
We're just giving you grief and having a little bit of fun at your expense, admittedly. No, that's super insightful. And as somebody who's gotten the chance to see all these designs coming through as you're working on them, because it is part of my job to be like, okay, yeah, like this looks really good. Sometimes I'll hash in my own commentary. There are a few characters that are coming out very soon that I had one or two little ideas that I was like, think about this, and then toss it at the writer and see what they think because it's their character. And the writer liked it. Cool, great, love it. But it's also part of my job to look at something and be like, okay, maybe this is a little too close to something else. Maybe there's a different approach that would work a little better. You know, and because that's important as well, because there's only so many amalgamations of things that you can do. However, you can go about taking an archetype and go about taking an aesthetic and still making it your own, you know, and doing your own thing with it. So, and that's important to do, especially when you're operating in comic books, because in comic books, there are very few, if any, completely original ideas still. Right. Like at this point, it's like, okay, so everything's going to get compared to something else. Right. It's like, okay, is it getting compared to that thing because it was clearly inspired by it? Right. Or is it getting compared to that thing because it just flat out looks like a knockoff, right? And the former you want, because the former, you know, people can be like, oh, this looks like it was inspired by so and so, right? And you can be like, yeah, exactly. Those are things that I like. So I decided to make my own thing that was inspired by the things that I like. And that's part of creation, right? That's part of creativity. And that's a fun thing to do and be a part of and to witness happen in real time, you know, when reading through the scripts and then having Marcos bring the character to life in the visual respect. That's a really cool thing. Igor, what about you?
Yeah, so mainly my work as a concept art, I have actually worked as a concept artist for like 4 or 5 years for the movie industry, but I was mainly designing monsters. So my approach to the whole thing was always like, how do I trying to remember what stuck with me as I grew up watching horror movies and stuff like that, and what like kind of had a visceral reaction in me, like when I was looking. I remember designing a monster. I can't really talk about this because it's a lot of the NDA, but for another company, but for a change. But the scene in Seven, where one of the scenes happens, and there's a guy like that had to eat almost.
The gluttony.
The gluttony stuff. So the veins stuck with me, like that's what made me like, he's bloated, but you can still see the veins like softly on his skin, and I was like, that stuck with me. And then when I was designing a fat character that like was kind of a blob and stuff like that, I was like, would be really cool if we had like green veins going over it, like that there is some effort and everything's not working correctly. And then the client loved it and ended up like making that a part of the character, and then
It
the small
traumatized you.
details that get a reaction out of you. Oh, sorry, Marcus.
Oh, my bad. I was just saying that the gloomy traumatized you with
Yeah,
the way it looked.
in a sense, yes, but I was more like mesmerized by the reaction that it got me, right? Like
Yeah.
because I watched the movie, I was like 7 years old or something like that. I was like
Dang, you
way too
7
young.
You were
Yeah, my
7 watching
yeah.
Kanan.
Man, Gary, I thought I was a baller
Yikes.
seeing Predator 2 when I was 8. No, I was
No,
7.
to give some
Dude,
context, my
Igor just
parents
kept
had
saying,
no
"What's in the
idea.
box? What's in the box?"
What's in the box? What's in the cereal box?
My parents had no idea because I grew up with 2 other cousins, and they were like 5 and 10 years older than me, so they were into that stuff, and I was like just tagging along and getting
I can't.
traumatized for life.
I can't even. I woke up from a. I think it was over somebody's house, and the first thing I saw was the scene in the thing where the dog burst out of itself,
Oh, okay.
and I was
Yeah.
like,
Big.
"What in the?" I
Yeah.
was like, "What?" Yeah, that was.
So there
One
are
of my
so
favorite
many of
horror
those,
movies.
right? Yeah, like there are so many of those that get like you might not remember the plot of the movie,
Yep.
but you remember that scene, like
Yep.
right? Like so, I think there is that element when it
Yep.
comes to like character design as well. Like if you want,
Yeah.
you have a purpose.
Yeah.
Like in horror, you're gonna try to scare people. Like superheroes, depending on the villain or the hero, you wanna like throw something in there, like to show something different.
Yeah.
You wanna try to remember when did that feeling struck you in some way, like in the media or something like that, and that kind of resonates with what Andrew is talking about. Like there is nothing original, but you can like completely original, but you can package it with your experience of it, because that's unique, right? Like the way that something
Yep.
hit you is
Yeah.
very unique, right? Like so that's what you wanna aim for. Like, oh, it's another Human Torch, or is another like Flash, or is another like Storm or something
Superman.
like that. No,
Something.
there's always a different like way of doing things, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. No, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not about making it original. It's more about making it unique. That's
Yeah,
what
Yeah,
makes it
exactly.
it's
great.
making
And
it. There's a ton of characters that are like the Batman archetype, right? There's a ton of characters
yeah,
that are
no,
Superman archetype.
Exactly.
Or with Marvel, you got
just
Sentry, right? Or
yeah,
Hyperion, right?
I just finished watching like Invincible. Like basically
Yes.
every character is a knockoff, and by the end of it, my wife was like watching. She never. I read the comments, but she never read any of it, and she was like, "Oh, this is amazing. The story is amazing." And
Mhm.
I'm thinking about the story really is amazing. Like Kirkman
Yeah.
did such a great job with the characters, and he didn't worry about like making a story with only knockoffs, because he was telling a good story. Like
Yeah.
because the characters are unique, they're not like 100% original and have like the most unique superpower, but they are
Yeah,
like unique in their own sense because he built them up like to be
And
unique
realistic.
characters.
well,
Yeah,
their character is what makes them a
Yep.
unique
exactly.
character,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's like you
Exactly.
can give 2 different characters Superman's more or less his power set, right? Let's keep it at baseline, right? Let's just go
Yeah,
the super strength and super flight, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
You can give a multitude of characters those same
Mhm.
base powers, and there are numerous characters out there in media that have those base powers. However, most of them are all very different from each other in a number of ways. There might be some Venn diagram crossover, right? In some of them, like they might
Some similarities.
share certain other characteristics, whether it's visually, whether it's little parts or facets of the
Mhm.
personality, but only Clark Kent is Clark Kent,
yeah.
right? And the same goes for all the other characters that have that similar power set, and you can apply that to just about anything, right? And that's where it comes down to, because nobody has ownership over powers, right? A type of superpower. Nobody can say only Superman can have super flight and super
Right.
strength, right?
Right.
Now, only Superman can be from Krypton and also have, all those other powers that he has and be, Kryptonian and all of that. Like that's
Yeah.
different, but that's part
Yeah.
of his character rather than just one of the powers that he has,
Right.
right? And so you can apply that in character creation anytime you're working within the concept of archetypes.
Yep.
And what is important, what sets your take on this archetype apart is them as a character, them as a person, right? And obviously you want them to have a unique and cool look, and not just because you also don't want to get slapped with a copyright infringement, but also because if somebody wants someone that looks just like Superman and has all of Superman's powers, well, do you know what they're going to do? They're probably going to just go read Superman, right?
Yeah.
Give them a reason to check out your character that also has super flight and super strength, right? What sets that character apart? Why are they different? Why should readers who like that archetype and who are already reading Superman, why should they read yours? Give them a reason. And if they just want good characters and good stories and they like that archetype, they'll read yours too.
It's good. Yep. I think
that's what it's about.
You got Superman, you got Invincible, and Homelander.
Well, yeah, so I was saying like two or three of the series that really have done or did that well was, in the early 2000s, you had Heroes.
Yeah.
Which was the first two seasons was well done. Every character in there had a archetype, that's been done before, but it was the story. They centered everything around kind of like the prophecy of save the cheerleader, save the world kind of thing.
Save the cheerleader, save the world. Yep.
Which was really good. And then Watchmen, critically acclaimed, award-winning series. Of course, Dr. Manhattan was basically the Superman. And then, Ozymandias, he was like a Batman-esque type, but he was a villain. That's what I was. That was a switch up.
Spoiler.
Oh no! Sorry guys, if you haven't read Watchmen or watched Watchmen yet, there's spoilers. It's been out for a minute.
They had actually, multiple. They kind of took Batman and broke him into two archetypes, where you had
that's what I say,
and then you had Rorschach. Like you had the two different sides of Batman split into two characters, and then another story I'm thinking of is talking about the Superman archetype was Irredeemable, where he was this prestigious, larger than life Superman, but because of tragedy and nobody came to his aid, he went flip mode and he became one of the worst villains in the world, and he was without pulling punches, and like he was destroying everybody.
Look at Hancock, right? Like that was like he's got Superman's power set for the most part, but like it's also set with a storyline that's also basically Hawkman and Hawkwoman.
It's tied to another character. So, I know when creating characters, I always think of the story.
What sets them apart with the story and them as a person,
and then too, like what if you're with the example, our universe, what archetype is missing, or what archetype do we not have yet? And so, those are the things where, like you said, Marcos, you start to think about the story first, why they're even there, why people should care about them, how to make their unique story. If it is a Batman type character or a Superman type character, what's compelling to set them apart from
the famous Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett question. Do you know what the Rippaverse needs?
Yep, exactly. And you can't. I remember somebody said, and this is kind of, it relates to the Heroes, but I think it was a life thing too that they were telling me about. But they said they always ask themselves, what is wherever the greatest need is, and wherever my greatest desire is, like that's my purpose or whatever. So that's where it meets. And
I like that.
Yeah, and so that's kind of like when creating characters, what's needed. What the archetype is, and not just needed just to fill a quota, but for the story, like for example, Gooding is such a unique character. I don't think I've ever seen a character like him.
Mhm.
He's got the technology, but at the same time, the way he operates is, that's kind of what's cool about the Rippaverse. Gooding, Alpha Core. Yes, Alpha Core. You can say they're like the Justice League or Avengers. Yeah, but actually, they're really like police. They're
Mhm.
literally just
exactly.
souped up police officers. Like, so,
Yeah.
they answer to a commander, and they have to follow orders.
Deal with red tape.
Yeah, go through
Mhm.
the red tape and all that stuff. And then, you got Gooding, who is literally a businessman. He's a hero,
Yeah.
but he's always dropping ads.
Yeah, I mean, like you've got with Gooding, you have a little bit of Iron Man in there, not in terms of like
Yep.
the suit of armor, but in terms
Iron
more of the
Man.
character of Tony.
Yeah.
Reed Richards.
And you got a little
Intelligent.
Richard, you got a little bit of Mr. Terrific in there,
Yep.
right? And that's the beauty, because it's like, okay, I want this archetype, but I can look at all these other characters that also fall into this archetype and be like, all right, what's the thing that I like about this one? What's the thing I like about that one? And you start, that's when your character becomes unique, because you're making a new amalgamation of these existing archetypes, and you're doing something new, doing something fresh. And Kato is a great example of that, where he
I
is
think
very
it's a
much a unique take on that archetype.
very good example, because it made me think of an interview that I saw from Chuck Dixon from
Mhm.
like 5 years ago, before we were working together, and he was talking about what he likes the most about superhero stories is like thinking about the logistics. For
Mhm.
him, like the superhero stories are all about logistics, how the world operates around the powers.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun. And I remember like D&D sessions where I was thinking about, like, I was a DM when I was younger, and I was thinking about how the world deals with like magic, like how do you build a safe that can store like gold, and a wizard can go in and just take it. Like the world has to know how to deal with that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That's what's cool, right? Like and Kato is like the personification of that, like the logistics attached to let's say a superpower.
Yep.
That they're just like, they go together, and we like exploring that world, because we know, like, how would that world be? That's not our Earth anymore. Like that's Earth that has had to deal with like superpowers for ages,
Parody.
or for like, no, that's what makes it fun. I think Kato is unique in that sense. Like it's a superpower going another direction that we haven't seen before.
Yep.
No, that's absolutely right. And anybody that read Chuck Dixon's run on just about any of the Bat family back in the day knows that, like, logistics, when you hear him say he loves thinking about the logistics, if you read his Bat family work, you know that. You know that to be true, because like he built out a lot of logistics for that. And anybody that read Alpha Core 1, he started laying down some foundational logistical stuff for Florist Park, which was also incredibly cool. And there will be follow-up on a lot of those things as we move forward in both his books and in those of others. Great discussion, guys. Great discussion. Thank you for that. I appreciate the insight. I'm sure the audience appreciates the insight as well, because character creation is like one of the most fun parts of doing this, right? Like thinking up the ideas, throwing stuff at the wall and being like, okay, so I like this, I like this, I like this. Okay, now let me make something coherent and unique out of these ideas, and then kind of letting it loose and seeing where it can go and seeing where it slots in. Because like you were saying, Kanan, where's there an actual need? A need like both in universe, but also what's the audience need? Right? The audience will also tell us, the Rippaverse kind of feels like it's missing X, is missing this thing, right? And then you, as creators, we can look at that, and we kind of sit back and stare at it and flip it over, turn it around, be like, yeah, you're kind of right. Yeah, okay. And then we can start,
man, we gotta make it make sense. Once it makes
make
sense,
it make sense. Yeah. Exactly. Like, okay. Okay. Now let's see how we can make that fit in our universe, right? And do something that's our own take on that, and see how the audience responds. And so far, the audience has responded very well anytime we have tried that. So thank you, audience, for being so gosh darn supportive.
In the world, man.
Yeah.
Best fans in the world. Not even close. Let's move on to some quick community shout outs. I want to shout out RippaGuy, who has been doing some awesome work. He is over on the Facebook fan page. He is also over on X and here on YouTube, I believe, under RippaGuy 808 or 808, something like that.
Yes,
08. Okay, I knew 8 was in there.
Gonna post on chat. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We'll have links in the description down below. But Alvin's been doing a great job. He puts out a lot of very supportive videos. He's been incredibly supportive of everything that we do here. So shout out to you, Alvin. I had the pleasure of jumping in on a couple of his X spaces and chatting with him and some of the other fans. And that's a joy. That's one of the funnest parts about what we do here is getting to interact in a more direct capacity with the fans. So Alvin, thank you so much for all of your support and your genuine enthusiasm for what we're doing, what we're building here. He's also been putting out some videos on his YouTube as well. So guys, definitely check him out. The other channel I want to shout out is Velvet Room Publishing. He does the Braxcast that he does weekly. He's been doing that weekly for about a year now, or a little over a year now. I had the pleasure of jumping in on the tail end of his most recent one on, what was that, Saturday or Sunday? This was sometime over the weekend. And he's a fantastic fan as well. He's incredibly supportive. You guys should check him out over on Twitter. You guys should check him out here on YouTube. He does reviews for everything that we put out. Does some unboxings. Like I think he was going to do an unboxing of the Yair statue, if I remember correctly. So that should entice y'all to order one of the final ones that we still have sitting at the warehouse. Do not sleep on that statue because it is beautiful. Yes. McFarlane Toys knocked it out of the park. It is a beautiful piece, as is the young Isom statue, which the design is inspired by cover D from Isom 2, which was done by none other than our art director over here at Kanan White. So you guys don't want to sleep on either of those. They are very limited print manufacturing runs. So check those out. Shout out once again, RippaGuy and Velvet Room Publishing. Those links will be in the chat down below. I'll try to remember to make sure we got both their Twitters and their YouTube channels in the description. Yeah, this community is it's exceptional. I got no better word for it. Like they are absolutely incredible. It always amazes me.
Man.
Really good.
Man, it's so humbling, like to see people's genuine enthusiasm for stuff that we're doing. You know, even when like they might be a much bigger fan of one thing than they are the other, it's still like they're hyped for what comes next, and they're invested. Like they're emotionally and creatively invested in what we're doing, and that's a huge responsibility on our shoulders. That it's very humbling because I think it's also commentary on at least the job that we've done so far. We're going to do our best to continue to earn that because we got to earn it with every single release. We got to earn y'all's fandom. We got to earn y'all's dollar. So thank you for continuing to give us a shot. We're doing our best over here, and we're going to continue to try and make sure that each time that best is at least marginally better than the last best was. So we want to make sure we're continuing to earn your guys' fandom because you guys are the best in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Final housekeeping real quick. Update on current active collections / campaigns. We got Isom 3 going right now, which is at a not too small number. It's about to hit 500K and 8,000 or 9,000 copies sold. Something I think 8,000 is what it's about to hit. We're less than 100 away from 8,000 copies sold on Isom 3, which is that's a lot of books.
That
is a lot of books, and we're about 15K from 500,000. That's $500,000. Like I know that people might scoff initially, like at first glance at that, it was like, but Isom 1 made 3.7 million. Isom 1 also ran for 8 years, and we had a really long wait period in between that one and number 2, and then in between number 2 and this one. Prices are high, and now the thing is, what we're seeing is we're seeing people ordering like every other campaign very often to save on shipping. Though now we have Hero Stash. So guys, if you have not checked out Hero Stash yet, Hero Stash allows you to, if you're familiar with like Big Bad Toy Store, Pile of Loot, right? So you can stash several orders, several products, and then have them all ship at once. So you pay a kind of combined or flat shipping that saves you some serious money, because shipping is a tremendous pain in the butt, especially if you're an international customer.
Oh, tell me about
my
it.
heart goes out to you. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, you and Marcos know all about it. Like, shipping is a tremendous pain in the butt. All right. So that's something we wanted to do for you guys, and we've been working on it for a while, and we're really happy to finally have it out there, because we're trying to do our best by you guys, right? And each time we get more leverage when it comes to shipping, when it comes to print costs, when it comes to whatever, we are doing our best to leverage that and like pass that savings back down to y'all. So, thank you for continuing to support us. But like over the weekend, Zaylen jumped up. Like going into Friday, Zaylen was at like 96,000 or something like that, and like 96,000 and change, I want to say, or 95,000 and change in terms of dollars. Over the weekend, it jumped up to over 120.
Yeah.
Like I looked at it this morning. I was like, wait, when the heck did we jump up like almost 30 grand?
I think
It went straight to outer space.
I mean, seriously.
people are starting to see that Rippaverse we're a publisher. So
and that's a mindset change.
Yeah, like it's not like we live, like you said, we don't live off the giant or the great campaign anymore. Like, you can buy whenever.
Yeah,
and that's what I mean. If you go to any other, publishing company, publisher, book, comic book, whatever, you just go to the website, buy what you want, and move on. And that's anytime, and so like that is, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Buy what you want, when you want, I want the collected this, that, or the other. Like, that's what we're doing. And so, I think people, if they understand, and those that are buying into and understand that we are a publisher, like for real. And so,
like a legit publisher now.
Yeah. And so, with that, more releases, quicker releases, price changes, things like that, man, like to get it into the hands of the fans, man. And I mean, it's working, man. I keep saying we haven't even scratched the surface. Like, there's so much.
But speaking of scratching the surface, the campaign or collection that just started, by the time you guys are actually seeing this recording, is the Great War of Separation Part 2. Now this, we just put out our, as of this recording, we just put out our review video. This is a collection and edit of a bunch of fan reviews of Part 1, and you guys are clearly loving it. Because I mean, it's Chuck Dixon. I'm a Chuck Dixon fanboy. I can't help it. Like, he's kind of my comic writing hero, and has been since I was a kid. So I'm always down for more Chuck Dixon books here. And man, I am heavily invested in the Great War of Separation for numerous reasons. I will say that for those of you who saw characters teased on covers of Part 1. Part 2 is where you're actually going to get to start meeting some of them.
Yeah.
So Part 2 is where the action really ramps up. Part 1 was the setup.
Yeah.
Now, Part 1 was just the pitch. Or even maybe not even the pitch. Part 1 was like, all right, the pitcher he's up at the mound. He's dusted himself off. He's warmed up the arm.
Yep.
Now he's ready. Part 2 is the pitch. That's where the action starts to really ramp up. And you guys are going to absolutely love this book.
You'll see characters you saw in other books.
Yes, you will.
Back in the day. And it's, dude, I mean, Great War of Separation, man, it's fire. Like, it's, I keep saying it when I post it. This is the framework to why a lot of why the Rippaverse is the way it is, and why people like Alpha Core and all these different things are the way they are. This is the build-up. This is like everything ties into a lot of the things that are happening in the Great War. And like you said, part 2 is like full throttle. And then, it's you guys, it's almost like it's like a movie. Like, oh my God, this is part 1. It's like here's part 2. And so you get to actually dive in and experience even more of the characters. So definitely don't want to miss that. It's
Great War is going to have massive impact
Yes.
on things moving forward. Not just
And the art is so good.
Oh, Jack Herbert, so good. He's so good.
Yes.
I love his work. Ever since he did that cover B for Alpha Core #1, I was like, man, we got to get this guy on some sequentials. And I'm so glad that Eric had the exact same thought in mind when he picked out him for the interiors on Great War of Separation, because man, his work is so good. And it only gets better as like the action heats up and you get to see even more of what he's capable of doing. So guys, look forward to part 2 and beyond. Definitely dive in. If you haven't already, make sure that you do. We do have a catch-up pack where you can grab parts 1 and 2. So if you held off on part 1, but now you're like, ooh, that trailer for part 2, man, like I'm kind of about it. Well, luckily for you, we have a bundle that you can get both parts 1 and 2, and you can experience that first half of the story. So check them out. It's absolute fire, as Kanan said. You don't want to miss this. This is a foundational event for the Rippaverse. Sorry, Igor, what were you saying?
No, I was just thinking about the artwork and then like how everything
Igor
comes together.
daydreams about Jack Herbert's art. Like that's how big of a fan he's.
Let me tell you something.
Hey,
Here's the thing.
No lie. I actually look at that art, dude, as like every page is almost like a tutorial.
Igor's here's the thing is basically the equivalent of the you see what happened was from Cops. Like
at the end of the day.
I came in as an assistant editor during the time that we were wrapping up like Great War 1, and like I had no idea how the book looked until then. Like I had seen a cover, that was it. Dude, the first time I opened the pages, I was like, how can I review any of this? Like this
what am I supposed to edit here?
Like, I feel you, man. I mean, honestly, man, and Jack's stuff, and then even like Deborah's newer stuff, Joe Bennett's work, Zaylan, Zaylan, oh my God, bro, like that. Whew. So like it's like you said, man, like being able to see the raw art, man. Like I was like, I'm mentally taking notes. I'm like, man, especially Jack, like his use of lighting. And reflective light and all that stuff. I'm like, yo,
his use of light is freaking wild, man.
Let me go back. Like, there's a picture, and I think it's those who have the first Great War. There's a picture of Brian. I think he's in the office. And just the way he rendered his face, dude.
Yeah.
And
then, the monitor light and everything.
Yes, I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
Jack is a hell of a professional, man.
Yes, he is.
He turns in a page and you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to tell you here. Just like
yeah, exactly. That's it. I was like, does it match the script? Okay.
Yeah, he got me questioning my skills. We're like,
thanks for turning in another piece. Like this.
What's my job?
Jack got me questioning my skills. I'm like, yo, I need to go back to the drawing board.
10 out of 10, no notes. Will's the same way when Will turns in the page. It's just like such like clean, finished work, and you're just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say about this other than thanks for turning in your work, man. Like,
right.
It's wild. Like, we are supremely blessed here at the Rippaverse to be able to work with artists of the caliber of Will Conrad and Jack Herbert, Joe Bennett, Deborah Carita, Michael Montagne. Obviously, everybody on this panel sans me because I can't draw for crap. And everybody else that hasn't been announced yet for other books. Stop it. Stop it. NDA. It is a massive blessing. I say it all the time, to be surrounded by
Absolutely.
such creatively talented people here, whether it's on the writing or on the art side. Like, y'all are amazing. And thank you, Rippaverse fans, for being so supportive of the amazing creators that we have here, whether it's, you know, longtime veterans like Chuck and Mike, or whether it's, you know, newer to comic book writing like Eric, who kicked us off, you know, and we had, you know, not that they're new to comic book writing, but also the Soskas, right? Obviously they did like one of the best Black Widow runs ever, right? But, you know, showing support to their work here, you know, Caro for Dirty Deeds. Please let us know if you want more Dirty Deeds. I'm pretty sure you're gonna want more Dirty Deeds. So please tell us that you want more Dirty Deeds. And there will be more to come. The beauty of us being a newer publisher and a young publisher, a young company, is we have that space to grow, and we can help foster new writing and artistic talent, right? So that, you know, we're building not just a bench, we're getting people active and out on the field already, right? Like that is a blessing, and that makes this business exciting to be a part of. So thank you guys for always supporting what we do here. Thank you, gentlemen, for being so freaking talented and gracious with your time as well, and always having fantastic insight, not just for the audience that's watching, but also for myself, because I get to sit here and I'm like, I'm not the talented one. I just get to listen to the talented people and like trying to absorb as much as I can. So I'm just like, okay, taking notes there. And it's like, okay. So for layout panels like that, got it. And it's a ton of fun, and I'm very appreciative of you guys. Final thing, quit. Apart from all the currently active collections we have, guys, make sure you're diving in on those. Great War Part 2. Zaylen, What Kills Must Die. ISOM 3. Do not miss the finale of the Ill-Advised Art. That book is freaking fire.
Yes.
On top of that, yes, shout out. That's Cliff's best work so far. That's Cliff's best work so far for sure. And he's got more stuff coming.
Yes, he does.
NDA. Aside from that, make sure you guys, if you haven't done so already, that you are signed up as a Rippaverse member. As little as $5 a month, guys. That gets you a free copy of the standard issue of each new Rippazine, and we are ramping up the number of Rippazines that we're releasing. Okay, we that is the thing. There are going to be more, so you're going to have more value there. The higher you go in the tiers, you can get more discounts, things on shipping, discounts on merch, stuff like that. You will get emailed to you, if you remember, each of the pieces that the guys did today, as a like a mobile wallpaper, right? And there are a number of other benefits on the way. Quite a few, actually, pretty major ones that we haven't even hinted at yet, that are being talked about. So little as $5 goes a long way. It also goes towards our goal for putting out more animation, right? So we have a goal for a full animated episode of The Horseman, starring Dean Cain as the voice of Hector, right? And then another goal for a full season. You want that, guys. You want that, because if you saw the animated trailer for Horseman Welcome to Flores Park, you know we're ready to go. So dive in on that. As always, guys, please hit like on your way out. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Share this out, whether it's in your Discord servers, whether it's on social media. We appreciate all the interaction, all the views, all of the support. I'll let each of the guys say a last goodbye, and by last goodbye I mean until next episode next month. And then I'll hit you guys with one final thing.
So long, farewell. Yeah. Best time to come in if you've been out of comics. This is definitely an island, a space, as Paul Heyman would say. This is the island of relativity. You know, we are making things happen here. You want a new space, something fresh. The Rippaverse is where it's at, because for one, we have the best fans in the world, and then it just drives us to create so much on the horizon. This is the time to get in, get that membership, get the books, don't miss out on the Great War saga. Like it's, oh man, yeah, just it's exciting time.
Yes. It is. Thank you guys for joining us, for enduring everything that happens here, listening to us. I'm sure a lot of you are drawing while you're doing this. So keep at it. I love seeing all the artwork that comes our way, like the fan art. We recently got to see like a lot of talented people
Yes.
messaging us, and like it has been like truly a blessing to see all of that. And I love seeing artwork from other people. So that's the best part of comics for me. I know there's the script and everything, but the artwork, like, super fun. I'm joking, but yeah. Yeah, so thanks. Until next time, like, feel free to message us on Twitter, mainly on Twitter. But yeah, we try to reply to everyone. We got some super cool questions. Like me and Kanan got dragged like to a couple of like groups and out of nowhere. Like, we got to review work we didn't even know existed. Like, yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, thanks a lot for the fans. Like they're the best.
Marcos.
I think my rooster stopped.
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't
It's about
know
time.
anymore.
About
Yeah,
to
I
be chicken
apologize.
stock soup.
I apologize if you could hear like the roosters in the background when I mic'd up.
No.
Because honestly, it's just a
You're
neighborhood.
good. You're good, brother.
But yeah, not really much else to say other than what we always say. Just keep going at it.
Yep.
Because like Kanan said, it's all like we're at the start. This is a good spot to be in. This is a good time to be a comic book fan. This is a good time to be an artist as well,
Yes.
especially with all the how the market is like expanding. And it's just keep going at it. If you're an artist, just keep going at it. You never know what'll come your way.
It's good, Marco.
Amen to that. All right, last announcement, guys. For next month's episode, we are inviting y'all to join the episode's prompt challenge. So instead of just pulling a random piece of fan art, as stellar as it might be, off of social media, instead we are inviting you to join the gentleman in the same art prompt. Now, the prompt for next month's episode, which will be episode 7, is going to be spring cleaning. All right, so you can get creative with that, right? So get creative with that. Tag us on social media. So tag like with the actual the official Rippaverse account. You can also tag me in it because I'll see it faster if it's both accounts getting tagged. On top of that, use the hashtag Ctrl+Z fan art. All right. That way we can search for those posts, and we'll have the gentleman, I should say, pick one of the pieces for us to talk about, like we discussed Rod's Bloodthirst piece on this episode. So we'll
You're a
go
gentleman
through
too,
yours.
Andrew.
Huh?
You're a gentleman too, though. Don't
Just some days.
out of that.
Some days I'm not as much of a gentleman. It's usually
tell
before
Andrew he's a
I've had
gentleman.
coffee. If I've been deprived of coffee and wine, then I'm not so much of a gentleman. All right, guys. You heard it though. Join the challenge.
Yes.
You have a month. That should be plenty of time. All right. So I don't want to hear I didn't know until 6 p.m. the night before the recording of the video to do my horseman piece. Igor.
Like, you personally attacked.
Igor.
Throw him out. Throw him out of the book.
I wonder who he's talking about.
Nobody in
Do we-
particular.
My defense, like, I was not slacking.
No, I know you weren't. But it's fun to pretend. It's fun to
Do
pretend.
we want to set a deadline, a specific day for like submission?
Oh, for the fans, we
for the fans?
should probably do that in the post.
We probably should.
written
I'm
down.
going to tentatively say the 20th.
Yes, that's a good day.
Just to make it an even number. I'm gonna
Yes.
tentatively say the 20th. So there might be a couple of days wiggle room there. I don't know for certain yet. It just depends on when we're doing the recording. So I will keep you guys posted. Until next time, God bless. Godspeed.
Peace.
Peace out.